Number 5 on Ascent is a Nanoswarm lineup for clearing out players from the Cubby underneath market in B site. Line your crosshair up with the curve on the bottom of the cloud, and it will land on top of the platform, but will hit anyone hiding in the Cubby. If you use this whilst your teammates hold the angle, they'll be able to easily eliminate anyone forced out of that position. Number 4 is to clear anyone off the boxes at the front of A site. Line the crosshair up with the peak of this cloud, then move it up to be in line with the top of the aerial. This Nanoswarm lands on the top of the box and will hit anyone on either level, although sadly it's too high up to hit anyone hiding behind the boxes. Aim this throw slightly further to the left if a defender keeps anchoring there though. Make sure to call to your team what you're doing so they'll know to watch out for anyone rotating out of this position. Next is an early round throw that can be used instead of a smoke to give your team mid control early in the round. Aim your crosshair at the edge of the cloud to get this Nanoswarm to land in the centre of mid Cubby, stopping any players pushing out from tree unless they want to take damage. If you throw it a bit late and a player is already pushed out, you'll either force them back into the tree area or out into mid as the grenade covers the whole of the Cubby. Second is a lineup to land on the default plant spot in B site. It's very easy to line up, come into the corner and aim at the top of the spike. This lands perfectly behind boxes in B site. Players have now got used to Killjoys pre-placing their post-plant Nanoswarms, and they're frequently destroyed before the defuse is attempted. By throwing them as you hear the defuse being started, you'll make it impossible for the defenders to destroy them, as long as you activate them instantly. Finally, the number 1 spot goes to the post-plant lineups for A site. To throw the Nanoswarm, come into the corner and aim at the point where both the cloud and the energy spike point to. This lands in front of the generator, forcing anyone defusing in this area off the spike. I prefer this throw to the last one, as in a post-plant situation, you're much more likely to be able to get to this position safely after your team's planted the spike. A quick extra throw for the same spot is to aim just to the left of the darker blue in a spike, and this gets the Nanoswarm to land at the back of the generator. If anyone's playing in this position, it'll either force them out towards the front of the generator, or to the side towards the rafters. In either case, they'll be out of cover and can easily be shot by your teammates holding angles from A lobby. Next we're on to bind. To throw the Nanoswarm, come into the corner, aim just above the ridge of the teleporter and slightly out to the right. This Nanoswarm lands in the Cubby on the left side of garden as you come into sight. It's pretty situational, but it can allow your team to safely push into the B site. This throw is especially useful on save rounds, where a defender may be hiding in the corner with a shotgun trying to catch you off guard. By forcing anyone out of this position, you have a much higher chance of winning the fight than peeking a shotgun at close range. The next throw does the same job but for A site. To throw the grenade, aim in the middle of the top gap between the leaves, then jump as you throw. This lands in the Cubby on the right as you come into sight. It forces anyone from in this position out, letting your team eliminate them if they're holding an angle from the teleporter Cubby. This spot is more commonly held by the defending team, gaining this throw a higher spot on the list than the last. Third on the list is a post-plant Nanoswarm lineup for B site. This lineup's pretty forgiving, so aim around the area you see on screen, as there isn't an exact spot to aim at. This lands perfectly to stop a defuse on the B site. And anyway, B long is a pretty good post-plant position if your Nanoswarms don't stall out for enough time. The grenade will hit anyone defusing in the corner, on the left side of the raised section of the tunnel, and even anyone inside the tunnel if the spike's planted on the left side. Second on the list, and we're back into lineups for Cubbies. To throw the Nanoswarm, aim at the top of the bottom cloud. I like to line it up with the side of the top cloud, but if you have time, it's safer to bring up the map and ping where you want the grenade to land, and then you'll get the perfect throw. Anyone playing in the Cubby can be very difficult to clear out if your team are pushing from hooker, so by using this lineup you'll force anyone playing there out from cover, either allowing you or your teammates in hooker to take them out. And you can probably guess the best lineup on bind. It's the post-plant throw for A site. Come into the corner and aim at the point between the two leaves for maybe the easiest lineup on this list. It lands perfectly next to the truck, stopping anyone defusing the spike. You're very safe when using this lineup, and if any defenders do come to check if you're playing here, they'll likely run out of time before they can get back to the spike even if they do kill you. The fifth spot on Haven goes to this lineup from the C-long Cubby to the back left of sight. Come into the back corner of the Cubby and aim just below the right hand side of the lamp. This lands in the middle of the back left corner of sight, forcing anyone playing from behind the platform out up onto the platform or to their left side back into sight. Whichever way they choose to escape the damage, they'll be visible from C-long, making them an easy elimination. Fourth is a post-plant lineup for B site. The easiest way to line this up is to use the ping system. Once you've got the line, aim your crosshair at the top of this wooden beam and jump and throw the Nanoswarm. It covers the whole of the front box of sight as well as the left side corner, both of which are very common plant positions. You can then rotate into the window to kill any final defenders trying to defuse the spike. The next spot is a post-plant lineup for C site. Come into this corner and aim at the top of the beam directly above the middle of the hook coming out of the wall. Jump, then throw the Nanoswarm. This lands perfectly to cover the whole front side of the box, damaging anyone trying to defuse. This spot again is a great post-plant position to hold the spike from, even if you run out of Nanoswarms. There's a bit of a theme here, but it's the final post-plant lineup for Haven. The lineup is very easy to remember. Come onto the wheelbarrow and aim at the second light from the left, then throw. It again covers the whole of the front side of the box in sight where the spike is generally planted. If you need to, you can then rotate down A long to defend the spike with your gun. Finally, for the best spot on Haven, we stay at the A site, but this time a lineup for A window. Come to the front left of this box, aim in the middle of the beam between the two roof supports, or you can use the map to ping the spot. Then you want to jump and throw the Nanoswarm. This lands in the window, forcing anyone holding an angle either out of the window or back towards the stairs. This lineup is great for late in the round where you want to push the A site, but your team's run out of smokes. If you can't smoke off the window, the push into site is very difficult, but by using this Nanoswarm you'll push anyone off the window, making taking the site much easier. On to the final map split. This first lineup is for blocking the A window into sight if your team is low on smokes. To throw it, come to the front left corner of the box and aim above the pole at the point where the wall changes colour. Jump and then throw the Nanoswarm. This lands on the window ledge, stopping anyone playing aggressively there, although it isn't perfect as there are a couple of places where they can play to see the top of your heads as you come into sight. Fourth is a lineup for a relatively common plant spot under Heaven. Come into the corner and aim at the corner of the roof between the two wires, or you can ping the spike on the minimap. This lands by the box next to Heaven, pulling anyone off the defuse. The main problem with this spot is that you're very far away from the spike, and if you can't stall for long enough with the grenades, you won't be able to stop the defuse. Third is the lineup for a plant spot on A site, behind the box in the middle of sight. Come on top of the plant and aim at the right line about halfway up the building. This lands right next to the box in sight, again stopping the defuse, but it has a very similar problem to the last spot, where if you mistime your throws you're too far away from the spike, so if you don't stall out the defending team for long enough they'll be able to defuse it. For the second spot, again come onto the plant, but this time aim at the left line and jump as you throw the Nanoswarm. This causes the grenade to fly a little bit further, landing on a second common plant spot behind this pillar in sight. If you aim it slightly further to the left, it would also hit anyone trying to defuse the spike if it's planted on the opposite side of the smaller pillar. Same as the last two though, that if you have bad timing you can't do anything about the defuse from A lobby. Finally, the best lineup on split. As you've seen, these lineups are pretty hard on split due to the high buildings, and generally this kind of throw would be a bit simple to include on this list, but I think this is probably the easiest way to use Nanoswarms to deny and defuse if the spike is planted in the default spot on B. Playing in B main is pretty common post-plant, but if it's just you left it's pretty dangerous to cross into sight to stop the defuse, but by using your utility like this you can stop the defuse safely. I've made more top 5 videos here if you want to check them out. Thanks for watching!